The process for the Department of Justice, DOJ, to pursue a treasonous conspiracy charge against a former official or anyone involves several key stages, each with specific legal requirements. It's important to understand that treason has a very specific and high bar under U.S. law, and conspiracy also has distinct elements. Here's a breakdown. Investigation and evidence gathering. 1. Referral and initial review. The process typically begins with a referral or complaint, in this case, from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard to the DOJ. The DOJ would then conduct an initial review to determine if the allegations warrant a full investigation. 2. Extensive investigation. Federal agencies, such as the FBI, would conduct a thorough investigation. This can be a lengthy process, lasting months or even years. It may involve collecting financial records, conducting surveillance, wiretapping, with proper legal authorization, interviewing witnesses, gathering documents and other forms of evidence, issuing subpoenas for testimony and documents. Grand jury proceedings, for an indictment. 1. Presentation to grand jury. If prosecutors believe there is sufficient evidence to support charges, they will present their case to a federal grand jury. A grand jury is a panel of 16 to 23 citizens that operates in secret. 2. Purpose of grand jury. The grand jury's role is not to determine guilt or innocence, but to decide if there is probable cause to believe that a crime was committed and that the accused person committed it. 3. Evidence presentation. Prosecutors present evidence and may call witnesses to testify. The accused typically does not have the right to be present or to present their own evidence at this stage, nor can their attorney be present in the grand jury room. 4. Vote on indictment. After hearing the evidence, the grand jury votes on whether to issue an indictment, also known as a true bill. At least 12 grand jurors must concur for an indictment to be issued. If they don't find probable cause, they issue a no bill. 5. Indictment. An indictment is a formal criminal charge, providing notice to the accused of the alleged crimes. It must be signed by the government attorney. 3. Elements of the crimes. To proceed with charges of treasonous conspiracy, the DOJ would need to prove the specific legal elements of both treason and conspiracy. Treason, 18 U.S. Code Section 2381. This is a very narrowly defined crime in the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 3. It consists only of levying war against the United States. This means actively assembling a body of men for a purpose treasonable in itself, implying open action against the U.S. government through force. Adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. This involves demonstrating loyalty to an enemy of the United States and providing them with assistance that strengthens them or weakens the U.S. Crucially, for conviction, the Constitution requires the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or a confession in open court. This 2-witness rule makes treason exceptionally difficult to prove. Conspiracy, e.g., 18 U.S. Code Section 371 for conspiracy to defraud the United States, or 18 U.S. Code Section 2384 for seditious conspiracy. Agreement. 2 or more persons must agree to commit a federal crime or to defraud the United States. Intent. The conspirators must have intentionally made the agreement and intended to achieve its illegal goal. Overt act. At least one of the conspirators must commit an overt act in furtherance of the agreement. This act does not have to be illegal itself, but it must demonstrate a step toward making the conspiracy a reality. IV. Post-indictment. 1. Arraignment. If indicted, the accused would be formally arrested and brought before a court for an arraignment, where they would be read the charges and enter a plea, guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere. 2. Pre-trial motions. Both the prosecution and defense can file various pre-trial motions, which may challenge the legality of evidence, the indictment itself, or other aspects of the case. 3. Trial. If the case proceeds to trial, the prosecution must prove every element of the alleged crimes, beyond a reasonable doubt, to a judge or jury. The defense will present its case, aiming to create reasonable doubt. 4. Verdict and sentencing. If convicted, the individual would face sentencing according to the law. Treason carries severe penalties, including imprisonment and substantial fines, and historically could even result in the death penalty. It's important to note that successfully prosecuting a former president, especially on charges as grave and constitutionally demanding as treason, would be an unprecedented and complex legal undertaking. The treasonous conspiracy accusation likely refers to a combination of conspiracy charges that could be seen as having treasonous intent, rather than a direct treason charge due to the extremely high bar for proving treason itself.